You're listening to Funny Peculiar with Jeff Downs.
Welcome to the third episode of Funny Peculiar. This week we delve into the world, well, it's two worlds we're looking at, which is cosplay and dominatrix. Cosplay, well, known as costume play, which is very popular at the moment, and people can dress as superheroes, characters from movies. In this particular case, we're going to meet my very special guest, which is KittyKinns, and she has a passion for Lolita dresses, and those are the dresses of the Japanese subculture, and they're kind of Victorian Gothic style dresses. Anyway, KittyKinns will explain a lot more as I catch up with her, and also Dominatrix, which is another performance that she does, and that's another character. So anyway, without further ado, let's catch up with KittyKinns on Funny Peculiar. Hello and welcome to Funny Peculiar, and today I'm talking with the lovely KittyKinns. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome. Thank you. I've said welcome already. Thank you for inviting me round, and we've come to your lovely apartment today, and we've got the lovely Panda, is that right?
Yeah.
The cat, who I'm getting a little bit... No, he's not interested in me. And we're looking at today because I've interviewed Nim Bergen, who's a dress designer, and we're looking at fashions. Because KittyKinn, that's sort of... We've got two personas we're going to chat to you about today. So your first persona, KittyKinns, is Japanese anime. Well, what I would call Lolita. But that's actually not strictly true, is it? It's the Japanese costumes, that sort of little girl. Is that right? Am I describing that right?
Well, the actual origins of Lolita fashion is in like Victorian and Rococo French type, like princess style.
Okay.
Like it gets confused quite a lot with kind of like dolly fashion and things like that. There's, you know, it's easy to get it all mixed up, really. Because
there's so many, and I would say to people listening. Now, I first met you through Club Lash, which is a fetish club, and I've spoken to other people in other podcasts because fet is really popular, and fetish clubs are more so getting popular. And we met at Club Lash, and I think you might have been in one of your KittyKinns outfits or latex, and we'll get onto that later because. You're big into latex. Again, that's massive. So do you go to quite a few fetish clubs? Do you?
Yeah, like I go to Club Lash. There's quite a lot of stuff going on in Manchester, but I do try and get to London a lot for like Torch Garden, Antichrist. Right. I've been to I went to Berlin and to Amsterdam for Wasteland.
And they're big over there, aren't they, in Europe? Because I'm hoping to chat to other people that have been to European fet nights. And what's Wasteland like? What sort of club is that? What sort of night is that?
It's very similar to Torch Garden, but I didn't enjoy them as much as Torch Garden because I think the kind of views on fetish wear there are a lot more traditional and old school. So someone like me that turns up in a lot of colours and really in your face isn't really received as well as, you know, the majority of people there that are dressed in black latex.
So it's quite gothic, is it? They're very sort of black trench coat,
really
rubber
traditional.
leather.
What you think of when you think of...
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Europeans would be... And I've seen some German latex rubber magazines where they just go for it, you know. It's like, it's just out and out. So they're quite conservative, are they?
Yeah, more like... It's just when I went to Wasteland in Berlin, I went in one of my actual, like, it's made by a sissy designer called Barbara Tam. It's a big puffy dress with Hello Kitty all over it. Right. I wore big pink bunny ears. I took a baby bottle with me to put my drinks in.
That's
just
part of the character.
Really kind of over the top and like in your face, and people there just found it funny. They were just like laughing at me rather than taking it as an actual serious outfit, which was a bit...
Because they just never seen anything like that. And KittyKinns, your name there. So that Kitty is that cartoon, isn't it? It's the
Hello Kitty.
Hello Kitty. Is that Japanese then? That
yeah.
Right. So that's the. Yes, I know the Hello Kitty. So that's where it kind of comes from. Yeah. So was that what kind of triggered it to start off with when you saw the Hello Kitty stuff?
It's a really old thing from when I was really young. Me and my best friend I used to call him KittyKinns, and he used to call me KittyKinns.
Right, okay.
It was just like a best friend thing, and
okay.
It kind of stuck.
It went from there.
Yeah.
And now, and it's huge, obviously, in Japan, and you're going, as you were talking earlier, and you're going out later in the year. So, and is that are there any big festivals out there that you're going to do, or what's the trip in aid of there, just to check it all out?
So they make a real big deal of New Year. So we're going to fly out on Christmas Day and go for 2 weeks. And all the kind of Lolita designers like Angelic Pretty and stuff like that, they have big sales. So my aim is to go and buy a lot of stuff to bring
So
back.
you're basically taking empty suitcases and hoping to... And will it, because is it cheaper out there than exporting it in? Obviously you'll get a better price and you can
and to buy stuff in Japan I have to use a shopping service, so I have to pay someone else to go into a shop to buy the stuff, and then obviously shipping is really expensive as well, and then customs charges.
So even when you're out there, you can't just walk in and...
Oh no, I can, yeah.
You can.
But if I'm buying stuff in England,
it'll be
much cheaper if I'm there, and I can just do it myself.
So that's good. So you're going to be in your mecca of KittyKinns and I won't, and Lolita, and we were talking earlier, and I always, and I think a lot of people mistake it and call it Lolita, that sort of little sissy girl, almost like what Grayson Perry does, and it's not. It didn't actually come from there, and that was interesting what you were telling me about, because Lolita's the Stanley Kubrick film, which was quite famous, and James Mason, but it didn't derive. What were you saying about the name or the sound of it?
So it's nothing to do with the book or the film whatsoever. That's like a real common misconception. In Japan, a lot of the time they choose words on the soundings, so they really liked the sound of it, and it was kind of like a cutesy sound. So generally, when I meet people in the street, if they ask about it, I usually just say it's a Japanese street fashion. And that's usually good enough to satisfy the general public.
And do you get sort of, obviously people come up to you and ask you about it? What's the oddest thing that someone's perhaps said? Or
so you get a split 50-50. You get people that are really nice, and you get people that are weird and horrible. I think one of the ones that always sticks into my head, I remember I was in Manchester Arndale and just been to the cinema with a bunch of the girls. And I'm quite one of the older ones. I'm quite protective over all the other girls, and there were a bunch of guys talking to us, and they were kind of like talking to the girls, asking them about like what undergarments you wear and things like that. And one of them, I was like, "Right, you need to go now." And he's like, "Well, can I shake your hand?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, shake my hand." And he just kind of held both of my hands for a long time and stared at me.
Oh.
And I was really kind of like, "Yeah, you need to leave. Like, you need to go away now."
To go now. It's like, oh dear. So it's like, it's funny how people react, isn't it? So it's like, and the thing is, when you dress weird, that you become like public property. So people will come up to you and grab your dress and go, "Oh, what's under there?" And I'm just like, "Would you grab?" Would you grab anybody else? So they feel like, and it's how do you feel when you are dressed up like that and you are walking around? Do you feel like a bit of a target? And you're trying to change perceptions of people as well, aren't you? That it's just, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, it's one of them things, like when people come up and you can tell they genuinely just want to be nice and ask about it, then I don't mind standing and chatting to them. But when you get people that are clearly making fun of you, I don't really have much time.
No, I don't.
You feel like, I feel really confident in it, and for me it's kind of like I'm being like a real life princess walking around the street, and I love it. But I know some of the girls have had bad experiences and it's really affected them, but since I'm one of the like moderators for the Northwest, I like to like protect them all, give them confidence.
So is there a group, there's like a forum you have of other girls that are into the sort of the look, so and you do you meet up with them and go out to, because I think on your Instagram account there's others that do it, so you kind of, so because in a way I suppose you want to meet other people and all show off your dresses. Definitely. Which is understand, and you've got some here today as well, which are absolutely wonderful, and I'm only wishing they do them in the size 18 and 20. They won't, coming from Japan. That's probably guaranteed. But they're absolutely... Just take us through a few of them here today. And you were just talking earlier again about a bit like trainers and your Nikes come out, your Pumas. These are limited edition as well, which I never... And this one here, which is just so soft to touch, which is... It's kind of... Well, you describe it.
So this one is by Angelic Pretty, and it is an OP, which means one piece, like a full dress.
Right.
And the artwork on it is designed by Imai Kira, who's a really popular designer in Japan. And it was a limited edition release at a Tokyo tea party.
And what sort of pattern, if you can just describe what...
So the dress is called Daydream Bed. It's covered in like beds. It's like, you know, really pretty lacy pillows, teddy bears, ribbons. There's actually a decapitated bear.
Okay, right. So just while we've got a very lovely sort of the imaging, a bit like Grayson Perry, because I think some of his pottery has like body parts, sort of, while there's bows and teddy bears. So is that a so yeah? It's kind of like it's kind of what do you call it? Taxidermy mounted heads.
So there's a panda cat.
Right. Okay. And that's.
Little cushions.
And we've got a pink bow and the collar, which is just very very sweet indeed. And that's. And then big bows at the back as well. And will you wear? Is that petticoats you'll have underneath?
Petticoats, and they usually come in full sets, so you'll have matching tights, headwear, and usually petticoats, bloomers.
And you'd wear socks with that, with then a shoe, and with a particular type of shoe. Are they collectible as well? Or it's the dress, which is the.
The
dress is the main.
Yeah, it's the print and stuff, because they'll release a dress. If a dress is popular, it can sell out in like seconds.
How many will they print or make of, say?
Not too sure on the numbers. There was an event recently in London where the designers of Angelic Pretty came to London, and we were asking these questions, but the answers were very kind of
they didn't want to give too much away, so, because it's that sought after. So that's your. Would that be your favourite one?
This was probably the hardest one to find, because they did a general release of this, but this colour and actual like design, you can only get from Japan at the special tea party.
Oh really? So I'd say that's pretty exclusive, that one, because it's come from Japan.
Yeah,
it's absolutely wonderful, absolutely gorgeous. And then we've got so that's your favourite, and this one here. This is another.
This is quite an old Angelic Pretty one.
It's the same make.
Yeah.
Same design.
Again, this is a one piece in like a lavendery blue.
Yeah.
But this one's quite different, because instead of having like a bold print designed by an artist on it, it's got embroidery. Okay. And the embroidery is of unicorns and kind of crowns and like royal kind of feel to it. The back is my favourite of this thing.
Oh wow! Look at that.
It's got a big ribbon with all pearls down.
So the ribbon drapes down, and it's got pearls, 3 pearls on each ribbon label bit, studded, and then you've got, and it's that's quite a heavier material, that one, isn't it? Compared.
Heavy, yeah.
And is that again a typical sort of Japanese style, Japanese material to use for one of these?
This one is quite unusual. Like in the modern dresses, they usually use like a chiffon or a silky light material. This is quite an old one, and they don't really use material like this anymore. I think probably because it's quite expensive to produce.
and this is very Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
And as you were saying earlier, so this sort of culture came around from sort of mid-90s in Japan, but it borrows heavily from Victoriana. Yes. Is that right?
Yeah. Really inspired by particularly like Rococo, Marie Antoinette type over-the-top princessy styles.
And do they, and will Japanese girls then all have their own style, or they'll make their own, or?
Yeah, well there's subcultures within Lolita. So you have sweet Lolita, which is like the pink and the cute and the girly. Then you have gothic Lolita, and classic Lolita, which is more like this.
So this is another one. And so the other two have like shoulders and sleeves, and collars. Now, and whereas the classic Lolita, this one doesn't. It's more of a strap.
The cut of this is a jumper skirt.
Right. Okay.
So you would wear a blouse underneath this.
Right. Okay.
The whole idea of the fashion is modesty.
Because and the Japanese culture is very. They are very modest and very strict. I think they're very British in a way. Japanese, I find, because they are very, very polite, like us, aren't they? Even more. We're always saying sorry to each other, aren't we? When we've never done anything. And I just think the Japanese culture, they're all bowing and nodding. So do you find similarities then with?
Yeah, one of my friends told me recently that when you're in Japan, you shouldn't close the taxi door behind you, and if you do, the taxi driver will go a bit nuts at you.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What? He's supposed to get out and do it for you?
The doors close themselves.
Oh really?
But you just wouldn't know, would you?
You wouldn't know. Yeah,
You'd just get out and shut it as normal.
Yeah. I wouldn't. Exactly. There's. I know there's so much to. It is. It's a massive culture that they. Because they just, I think, I don't know, it's on weekends, but a lot of stuff I've seen, they just go out to parks or through the streets, just loads of Lolita kids, aren't they, everywhere, and because they like all their music, the Western music and stuff like this. And this last one here, this is another favourite.
This one is a more recent one.
Oh right, okay. And this is typical of what's coming out of Japan now, would you say?
Yeah, this one it's got like a magical theme to it.
Right.
So you can see there's pills and like.
So it's a black material, background black material, and then on it on print is pills. And so what are the pills then? Is that?
So there's little pills, like a doctor teddy bear.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
There's
not paracetamol, just general. I'm just trying to work out these Anodin, these Nurofen, what sort of thing is going on out there. So I see. Yeah. So it's all just different. It's all for medical type.
Yeah, there's like a thermometer.
Are those polos as well?
That's what I thought. There must be in Japan. There must be some kind of medicine that looks.
So they've
like
cottoned
polos.
onto polos medicine, and they've got the little rabbits there.
Yeah.
And then it's got like a pink sleeves to it and a pink collar.
Yeah. Well, this is the blouse that.
Oh right.
It, so it's separate. This one is.
It's a separate. Right. Okay.
But this would be classed as menhera, which is like medical.
Okay.
In Japan, so it's like a.
Again, another genre of the Lolita. And we never said with the dress there. We just it's a sort of cream colour. This one. What's it got on the edge of the skirt there?
It says "Baby the Stars Shine Bright," which is the brand.
Oh right, okay. So that's that particular brand. So it's a cream sort of coloured skirt, and then it's sort of accented the ribbons are blue, like a navy blue. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's got all like pearl detailing, little crystals and things. This one again was a really rare one, so I'm really happy with that.
That's wonderful. And that's and basically how many dresses have you got? Roughly, do you think?
I think about 12.
12.
Yeah.
So that's quite a and of course you're always on the lookout for more.
Yes.
So, and were you at eBay or you'll be on certain sites in Japan? It's
so in England, the Lolita is massive. So there's loads of second-hand sales pages, Facebook sales. We've got our own, Lolita's own version of eBay.
Oh right, okay.
Which is called Lace Market.
Okay.
And then where you tend to find the better things though is on the Japanese resale websites. So like Yahoo Japan and Frill. They're kind of like Japanese eBay. Yeah,
and those are, and it's massive over here. And so, is there like a big annual club for Lolita over here? Is it just smaller clubs and places?
So each region has like their own community.
Right.
Unfortunately, last year was the very last Tea Party Club, which it's an event in London that brings everyone from all over England, and they get designers to come from Japan, and we have a big tea party and do a shopping day, do fashion show, and it was really good. I was really sad that it was the last one.
Right. And this is a lot of females do this. So do TVs do it? Is it big with trannies as well?
Yeah. Well, you've got they've got their own name.
Oh right, I didn't know this. Oh.
They're called Brolitas.
Oh right, okay, Brolitas. Oh right, okay, right. I'll have to become a Brolita at some point when I get enough money.
I'll have to put you in touch. We've got a girl in the northwest.
Yes.
So and she's very lovely and she
likes,
looks great as well.
Yeah,
she
yeah,
gets
yeah.
great outfits. She finds stuff. It's one of the things because all the dresses are one size.
Yeah.
Kind of taller girls, fatter girls.
Right.
Get a bit sad that they can't like this. There's no stretch in it.
Yes. Yes.
But if you look, there are designers.
They're larger sizes,
yeah.
So they will do for that. Okay. So it's like that, and that's just it's beautiful. That what absolute colour that we got, and naughty cat there. Can we can pick it up. He's scratching the sofa. You've been told not to. So this is KittyKinns. So that was lovely, and that's one side. And I've seen your Instagram account, and down Lash as well. Now I've met another alter ego, and this is Princess Aurora. So can you tell me about Princess Aurora?
So Princess Aurora officially started about 2 years ago, but it's my dominatrix work persona.
Okay.
And one of the reasons it took me so long to get to Princess Aurora was because I was always interested in the dominatrix side of things, but because I'm kind of cute and girly, I didn't think that I would be taken seriously. Right, okay. You know,
because it's always seen as a dominant, sort of larger lady character that is just cracking whips. And I think that's what people had the impression until 50 Shades came along, sort of quite hard and physical. But so you thought you wouldn't be taken seriously because you were slightly smaller and
I don't wear black, and I'm not kind of serious and shouty.
Yeah.
I will openly laugh and make a joke out of things and just make it funny rather than sticking to this strict like headmistress type.
Yeah.
It's just not me.
No, and I think for each dominatrix is different, aren't they? And then a part of their persona comes with the character. So, and I've met lovely ones in all the different fet clubs I've been to, and they are all different. So now you like latex as well, so that's part of Princess Aurora's look and image, and we got some outfits here today that you've so what are we and latex again, that's massive as well at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of celebrities have started wearing it.
There was also and loads of that, because that's now started to happen. And also, I don't know if you saw the Oscars this year, there was one guy he had like a shirt and bow tie on, but he had like a bondage harness on as well, and cool. That was like, you'd never see that, but very, very slowly it seems to be. And then you've got obviously Vivienne Westwood, I think, did the whole those trousers, what were they called, the trousers, like buckled trousers, or there was a name for them, wasn't it, like handcuff or with the handcuff, anyway, that was that sort of side to it. So but now we see definitely mainstream media, more latex. So what have we got here today? What's the outfit?
So these are 2 outfits by Pandora Deluxe Latex.
Okay.
The first one is a standard one that she does, and it is a bright pink tooth-piece with Barbie across the front. It's got like cute little bows.
We can just hear that again. This is a different. That's a different type of, and latex is expensive, and I've chatted to people before, but you have to be very careful with it, don't you?
Yeah, it's a living material.
Okay. So
you have to clean it properly, you have to store it properly, you can't leave it damp because it'll go mouldy.
Right. So
it's a faff.
It needs a lot of looking after. So and then also getting it on the talcum powder, that just seems, every time I go to an event I've seen, there's always a cloud of talcum powder following a latex wearer, because it's the best way of getting on, because you don't want to rip it, you don't want to.
Well, I'd say actually I used to think talc was the best way, but the best way to get latex on is with a silicone-based lubricant.
Oh, really?
Because you basically lube yourself up and slip straight in.
And it probably makes sense, because it will go on a lot quicker.
Yeah, because it's just like condoms are made out of latex.
So of course, so it's just a thicker type of. And
just a thicker.
And a bit like
it stretches.
With the Lolita dresses. These are different, and with latex, the fashion houses again, they'll have different styles, will they?
Yeah, I think you kind of get a feel for who specialises in what.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are really good at custom designs as well.
Okay.
So this one
And the other one here
is
is
my princess top.
that's the princess. Again, that's like a cream white latex with a pink edging around the side and on the sleeves, and it's got princess in gothic type lettering across the front. Is that stuck on as well? Is it? That's,
Yeah. So what I did with that one was a custom design, and I sent her the font, and she got it laser cut.
Oh, okay.
And then she made it all
And she
and
put
sent
it on.
to me.
And then what will you wear with that as well? Is there
I've got some little hot pants which are the same as this,
right?
but they're in like a metallic grey.
Okay, right.
But the one thing I do love about latex is if you see something on a latex website and you think, well, I love that, but I wish it was in this colour, or I wish it was high-waisted, or there was a bow on the front, you can just message them, and every single designer I've ever messaged has always worked with me and made me my perfect outfit.
And they will find it. So, and yes, because sure, there are just so many different styles out there. So, and we're picking up the police car going past. Yes,
It's a nightmare.
it's probably a policeman going to buy his latex now. It's just like, because it is out there and everybody's wearing it. So it's like, and it's very, and then, again, it's. I've always found it difficult with the bigger sizes as well. You have to be careful. I think the more latex you use as well, the more expensive it gets as well.
Yeah,
so.
definitely.
And this is for Princess Aurora. Now, Princess Aurora is a dominatrix. So,
Yes.
so tell us just a little bit about that. So you'll have certain guys will want certain scenarios playing out. Is that basically what goes on?
Yeah, I specialise in humiliation, so
Okay.
I tend to get to do the more fun stuff.
Right. Okay.
That isn't just kind of serious, sticking to like a really matronly role.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean a lot of the dominatrixes are like caning and thrashing and stuff like that. So that's one aspect of it. But there's you do another sort of humiliation. So they just like to feel humiliated or silly.
Yeah. It's kind of the character I kind of work into.
Okay.
Is the girl that would have bullied you at school.
Right. Okay.
A lot of guys, they like to tell me about why they like what they like, and I'm surprised at the amount of people that say they were bullied by someone at school and it really has stuck with
It's stuck because it's probably to such an early age, so that it's because they say, I think we develop, psychologists will say it all happens around when we're kids and growing through teenage years, and this is when it fixes in. So they'll come and they'll want certain scenarios, and so we were talking earlier just about some few. So what are the sort of requests you get? There was the comic book one which sounded interesting. What was that?
Yeah, that's probably one of the more unusual ones.
Yeah.
So he liked Judge Dredd comic books, and there was a specific storyline where there was a stupid gun, so if you shot it at someone, then they would turn stupid. So he brought me. I had to wear full latex because that was his.
He liked that.
He
as
liked the latex, over the top, done up Barbie bimbo type look, and he brought me a plastic ray gun that made funny noises.
Okay.
I didn't have any rubber shoes, because who does? So he brought me a pair of wellies.
Right. Okay.
And he was in full latex as well, and I kind of had to shoot him with the gun, and he'd gradually get stupider and stupider. Roll him around on the floor, feed him custard, marshmallows, and then we finished by me rolling him up into a big latex sack and just zipping it up.
Oh right, okay. So that was again. There's an interesting superhero, and I like the fact the gun makes you more and more silly. Perhaps Donald Trump's been hit with that gun. That would probably make sense. Any other that you can think of that just a bit different?
So I've had, when I was actually training, it was one of the really early ones I did, with two other mistresses, and that was a slave disposal.
Oh right, okay. So he just wanted to be get rid of, basically, and not seen again. So that's fair enough. We've all had those days where we don't want to. So that's the other side of Princess Aurora. And it's also, as I said, you look amazing when you dress, and the styles you have and your hair. So, and finally, one question I have for everybody on Funny Peculiar is, who do you think I should interview next? Who do you think would be a good interviewee that could be another dominatrix, could be another Lolita? Who do you think?
I have 2 suggestions. One of my best friends, Mistress Raven, who is a trans mistress.
Right, okay.
And she's got one of the best personalities.
Brilliant.
And she's just hilarious and the nicest person as well. And the other suggestion would be Miss Buffy Brown.
All right, yes.
Who runs Bitches Unleashed.
Right, okay.
And again, she's got a personality that is just massive.
I've met Buffy. She's lovely.
She trained me as well, and she's
brilliant.
She's the nicest. I love her so much.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, listen, thank you very much for today, KittyKinns. Thank you for being on Funny Peculiar, and we'll be back next week with someone else. I don't know who it's going to be. This is the craziness of Funny Peculiar. So thank you for showing us your outfits today. It's been wonderful, and also meeting Panda, who's now sitting there looking at me, and he's happy that my pen's on the floor. So we'll leave it there. Any final words from the Panda, from Mr. Panda? No, he's not. He's on the phone. Thank you very much. Take care. Speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
You've been listening to Funny Peculiar. Tune in next week. More great guests.
So thank you to KittyKinns this week, chatting about the dominatrix side and also the KittyKinns, the Lolita dresses. You can find KittyKinns on Instagram, and that's just KittyKinns. That's KITTY Kins, KINNS. And she's on Instagram, so go and say hello and you'll see some of her fantastic outfits. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, click and share wherever possible, and we've got more great guests coming up. So thanks for tuning in.